government website that was once a resource for coronavirus pandemic information and free test kits has undergone some major changes. The page on the White House website now reads Lab Leak, the true origins of COVID-19. This comes after a CIA report found that the pandemic most likely originated in a lab, but gave the findings a low confidence rating. It also said that both lab-related and natural origins remain plausible. The new government website doubles down on the lab origin theory and accuses health and intelligence officials of suppressing the theory for political purposes. So CBS News medical contributor Dr. Celine Gounder joining us now to talk about these findings. Let's talk about the White House and the 2024 congressional report specifically saying COVID-19 most likely came from a lab leak in China, but many scientists still lean towards the natural origin. So unpack all of that for us.
So there's no smoking gun really for either theory, but the strongest scientific evidence still points to a natural spillover, most likely at that wet market in Wuhan in China, where live animals that are known to carry coronaviruses were being sold. There was genetic material from infected animals, including raccoon dogs, that was found in the same places where the virus was first detected at that market. And there's no direct evidence that the virus came from a lab. U.S. intelligence reports say the Wuhan lab did not have SARS-CoV-2, the virus that causes COVID, or a close precursor even before the pandemic started.
Okay, so the government claims the virus contains a genetic feature that does not exist in nature. Is that accurate?
So that claim is misleading because they're talking about a part of the virus, what's called the furin cleavage site, which helps the virus to infect human cells. And it was unusual when scientists first saw this, but that's because they didn't know to look for it. And since then, we've learned that similar furin cleavage sites are found in other coronaviruses that infect animals. So this is not a proof of virus engineering. It's really something that can occur naturally.
Okay, so CBS News reports the Trump administration actually replaced government websites with simplified messaging focused on the lab leak theory. Is that concerning?
Well, it is concerning because public health communication should really be grounded in facts and science, questions even, but not politics. And replacing nuanced scientific content with a single unproven narrative is really misleading to the public, and it does undermine trust in government guidance. And so if you have another pandemic or other crisis hit, you want the public to feel like they can trust the information they're being given, and this really does undermine that trust.
Okay, so there has been talk of a cover-up that Dr. Fauci and other health officials tried to suppress the lab leak theory. So is there any truth to that?
Yeah, I think it's really important to emphasize that during those 2024 congressional hearings under oath, Dr. Christian Anderson, Dr. Bob Gary, who were the two of the authors of that original Origins paper, Dr. Christian Anderson specifically under oath said that Dr. Fauci, Dr. Collins, were kept informed of what the paper was going to be saying. That's very different from saying that they had editorial control. And under oath, Dr. Anderson said, no, they did not have editorial control over this paper. They were just being kept in the loop, as you would hope they would be in the middle of a crisis like this. And Democratic members of that subcommittee where they had these hearings, where doctors Christian Anderson and Bob Gary testified, they reviewed extensive documentation, including emails, including congressional testimony, and they found no evidence that Dr. Fauci or Dr. Collins had any editorial input, that they tried to suppress the findings. They were just kept in the loop.
So why does figuring out the origin of COVID still matter today?
It matters because it has implications for how we'll prevent a pandemic in the future. So if there were biosecurity lapses at the lab, you would certainly want to prevent that kind of thing in the future. And I think it's something that we should be doing regardless of whether that was the source of the pandemic or not. At the same time, zoonotic, which means transmission from animals to people, historically have been the cause of almost every known emerging infectious disease pandemic in human history. And so that is definitely something we need to be addressing as well. And it doesn't have to be either or, but the more information we have as to how the pandemic started, the better we can be in how we prevent the next one.
Yeah, Dr. Gounder, thank you so much.